All righty, good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome to Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, and I want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight. Those of you who are with us in the Zoom room, those of you who are with us on YouTube or watching us on any of the canned platforms, or if you come back and watch us on the Galactic Alliance website or wherever it is, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, we have a true gift in the house, Miss Shelly Reef. But I want to tell you just a little bit about her because she is a lifelong contactee and pioneering of sound healing. Now, she is absolutely phenomenal. And when you hear this music, you're going to understand when she says that she safely guides us into an intergalactic journey of sound, exactly what she means. So I would recommend that tonight that you just close your eyes and just drop into the sound of this music and let it just carry you away, because she's going to use an array of therapy harps, crystal alchemy bowls. She's going to use, is this called a monochord? She's going to take us on a guided meditation, and she also leads listeners to discover their capacity for their interdimensional contact. Now, let me tell you just a little bit about Shelley personally. She specializes in interdimensional connection through sound, frequency, and guided meditation. She is a lifelong contactee with gifted insight into the realms of 5D timelines, spirit guides, star seeds, the pineal work, and the light body and empathic vision. As a virtuoso in harp and crystal sound healing, Sherry not only founded the art, but has developed the Therapy Harp Practitioner's certification with the Sound of Yoga Sound Healing Institute and Yoga Alliance. And she is embraced by therapists, yogis, and healers all across the world. Shelley is the co-developer of the anti-gravity restorative yoga taught in over 40 countries. Her meditation work spans 45 years, and her in-person appearances have reached students in more than 20 countries. Shelley is passionate about leading retreats on conscious evolution, and her next one is coming up on March the 20th through the 24th in 2024. So, Pat, honey, I'm going to put you on mute. Cradled within an active just a volcano. Second, please. Mystifies visitors. There we go. And I want you guys to take a moment and check out her website at shellyreef.com. That's SHELLYREEF.com. So, Shelly, without any further ado, I would love to bring you up so everyone can meet you.
Thank you so much, Sheila. You're such a star sister. I don't know if you saw the email I sent you at the last moment, but I made a thing for social media and I put both of our faces on it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Star sisters. Yeah.
Yes, I think so. And look, I popped everybody up here because we've got a lot of star sisters and brothers on here tonight.
Wow. I don't usually start an interview this way, but on this one, I just have to say that I felt you all drop in the last I don't know, 3 to 6 months. I've really found that the light grid of energy workers around the planet has become tangible. And it used to be, I would drop into it and kind of wonder, am I making that or am I making it up? But now when I drop in, it's like points of light all over the planet that are so bright. I can feel everyone doing the work. And when we come together, I get this high, I get this rush that I'm here to, of course, bring the sounds and the instruments and the meditation and all of that to you. But trust me, I'm benefiting. I get so high from being in your presence. Thank you so much, all of you, really.
Thank you so much for being here with us. We are so excited to have you. This is great.
Yeah, it's been a long journey to this moment. I met you, Sheila, just last April
April. Yeah.
to Ascension.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I would really love for you just to take a moment before we start and kind of tell people a little bit about your journey because you've got a fascinating journey and all of the work that you have done. I would really like for people to be aware of that. And I want you to also, everyone, again, please go visit, excuse me, please go visit Shelly's website, shellyreef.com. Check out all of her courses and everything that's coming up. But Shelly, let me just get you to tell people just a little bit about yourself and how you got to exactly where you are today.
I think it started in childhood. Um, uh, I was born in a tiny town in Kansas. I was raised on a dirt road in the countryside. Um, but I started meditating. The earliest I remember is about 6, 7 years old. I would do open eye meditations every night. I would lay on my bed and look up. Remember those sparkly ceilings in the 1970s where they'd spray the little sparkles? And there was this one sparkle that was brighter than the others. And I would stare at it and it would get really bright and everything else would go completely black and then until there was only the light. And as a child, that became my favorite place to spend time, which was not very usual. When I went out and bought all the accoutrement with my allowance to do seated Buddhist meditation, I really kind of freaked my parents out. I don't know where I got it from. I'm sure I saw it on TV or something. And then I painted a mural of Mount Fuji on my bedroom wall at 7 years old. And fast forward to about 22, that's when I wound up in Japan. And that's when things really started to open up for me spiritually. Um, Interdimensionally, I would say I was maybe a little bit too much of an open portal my entire childhood. As it goes with so many, I'm finding out now as I do more research that so many of us sensitives have teenage years that aren't so fun, maybe preteens, between the tweens and the teenage years. We don't know our boundaries. We want to go watch the Freddy movies and, all the dark stuff with our friends and get a thrill out of the scream and everything. But I found out the hard way that I didn't get to do
Hi,
that. And
Red, go to Mama's.
what was that?
Sorry, that's okay. I muted. Someone popped on and their
Oh,
mic wasn't muted.
okay. As we were talking about horror films, a strange voice comes out of nowhere, and I thought, no, not again.
If I was quick on the draw, I would have said, I'm sorry, Shelley, what voice? I just wasn't that quick.
So, so I was plagued with a lot of visitations and nightmares and sleepwalking and all of the other things as a child. It was just kind of a tidal wave of it until I got to Japan in my 20s and started studying with Buddhist teachers there and started meditating about 3, 4 hours a day, and that's when I started kind of gaining control of things. It was shortly after that that I started having really obvious ET encounters, and there was a series of them in my upper 20s. And the first one I was fascinated. I said, wow. And I was with a group of people and it happened to all of us and it became a thing. And I had a clothing line at the time and I started drawing all these designs of aliens and UFOs and my whole thing came about that. And, there was that underground press of, this fashion designer who had an encounter and is doing this thing. It became a conversation. And then it happened again and again, and it scared me really bad. And then I started having weird nights again where I couldn't sleep. And so I decided I didn't want that, and I uninvited it into my life. And what that meant is that I had to stop my designs.
Super, Kan je dat pak aanslopen? Kan je weer dat pak aanslopen?
I'm so sorry, Shelly.
It's okay.
I have this set that is supposed to be on mute when people pop on. Hi.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We're tearing down all the walls as we talk.
Yes.
So, so I drew a line and I said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. You're not taking me anymore. I'm not your experiment. You're not welcome unless it feels good to me, unless I'm also part of it and it benefits me. Then we can have these interactions. And amazingly, it stopped. And I also stopped, doing all of the designs and everything. And after that, shortly, I went from design into mainstream show business in New York City, which had nothing to do with ETs. And so my focus was elsewhere. And I was in New York City for 20 years. There were times when I would become very open, that I would see craft up close in New York City, but there was no interaction, there was no manipulation of any kind, and I felt fine with it. It stayed that way. It shifted to where I was only receiving the downloads of light. There was my guides of light. That light that I was looking at when I was a child turned out to be my guides, who are interdimensional light beings. I'm still learning more about them, but the conversation has become very clearly two-way in the last years, and they facilitate this work. I've set up the instruments and tune everything, and I get started, and at a certain point I just hand over the reins and they take it. So my job here is to sit down and shut off and turn on in a way. Then this April something very interesting happened, and that's that I started going to conferences, and I wound up performing with the instruments and doing a brief PowerPoint presentation on frequency and how frequency is used to actually literally heal us. It's not just that the instruments make us feel relaxed, but this last year Stanford University put out a wonderful study through cymatics on how they're actually creating healthy heart tissue through sound. And the diagrams of this, it looks just like Emoto's frozen water crystals, which look like beautiful snowflakes. So now they're doing that, but it's red because it's actually blood tissue, and they're applying sound to it to create the heart tissue, the healthy heart tissue that the patient needs. And so when that came out and my work started to deepen with my Harp students, I started getting invited to hospitals more to work there, especially with heart patients. And as I work with the instruments, I get to watch their hearts come back into coherence on the monitors behind them. So it's a thing. I do certifications with the Therapy Harps with these. I have students worldwide. We teach online. And my next training's coming up. I'm just going to say this now because I will forget later, and then I'll get back to the story. The next training starts October 7, and we have about 6 of these beautiful Therapy Harps, which you'll hear in a moment, in stock. So if that is something you have been maybe wanting to explore, becoming a sound healer, we certify through the Soul of Yoga Sound Healing Institute, and we take the certifying people very seriously. So it's a 20-hour training with CEUs through Yoga Alliance and the Institute here. And we're working on CEUs for the American Nursing Association too, so check back next year if that's you. So all of this was guided to me over the years, but I want to go back to this April, which was kind of a real turning point in my life. I met Sheila there. I met all the people from Earth Files, a lot of people I already knew. I started having a conversation with the people from Earth Files, and if you're familiar with Linda Moulton Howe, she said, "You're having dinner with me tonight." So I went to this big fancy dinner, and she interviewed me during the night, as did Ian, her assistant, and it all came pouring out. That's when I realized that I've actually been a lifelong contactee, and that there seems to be two paths, which is very interesting. There's the path that is manipulative and comes in, takes me when I'm not wanting them to. And that's what I stopped when I was around 30 years old, by saying no. And then there's the other side, which is supportive and protective and guiding. And I've leaned into that completely and surrendered completely into it for my life. I go where I'm called and where they tell me to go. Well, interestingly enough, as I opened up that conversation and realized the degree to which I had been having lifetime contact, my curiosity in it opened up again. And immediately after, a week after, I had my first non-welcome encounter in all those decades, where I was kind of drawn out into Borrego Springs by my GPS, taking me hours off course of a trip, and had a whole night of encounter. Since then, I've had 3 more. I'm working now. The goal now is to keep the positive dialogue, to keep the dialogue going, but to again set that boundary that no, you may not manipulate me, you may not take me against my will, you may not do anything that frightens me or doesn't feel right to me. If you want to work with me as and through the light, then you're absolutely welcome. And so that's what I'm working on right now. I have an amazing team through everyone at Earth Files, and I'm very grateful for that. So through that, since April, it really became clear to me what happens with people when I'm playing the instruments and the connections that they're making with their own spirit guides, their own interdimensional guides, or interdimensional beings that they haven't encountered before. I have never in my realm had anyone have had a negative off-planet encounter. And so when I'm playing the instruments, I'm in absolute trust that the portals that I open there between people and interdimensionals or high self or guides is always of and by the light. So thank you. That's a little bit about
That's
my journey.
beautiful. That's beautiful because that gives people an idea of not just the passion, but where a lot of this work comes from and how you're utilizing it. I think that's very magical. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got a course coming up, right?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. I do. It's for the Therapy Harps. It begins on October, what did I say? October 7. It's 20 hours. We divide it up over 4 weekends. And we also have 2 weeks in between so everyone's fingers can heal because most people are playing their harps. These are the harps that I'm talking about. These beautiful harps came into my life. I was really asking for something. I'm not a musician. I've never trained. I don't read music. I don't play any traditional instruments whatsoever. These harps are tuned in a chord, so they're not a like a regular instrument where you can play a song on it. This one is right. There's only 3 notes in that entire harp with 3.5 octaves in it, which you can use to really build. These harps were built to be played on the body of clients, so the client lays down front or back, and the harp is placed on their torso and played there. So the client gets what we call direct vibrational therapy. So the vibration of the harp goes directly into the entire core, literally sending these frequencies and all of the intention, of course, connected with it. It literally vibrates the inside. It's like if you take something and shake it, it settles. right? And so as everything kind of settles back into place, that which doesn't belong there is released. There's a lot of sacred geometry that comes into play in this work. At least that's what I see, and a lot of people report experiencing during these sessions. So
Well, now, is this the type of harp that you would use in the hospital and lay on a heart patient?
it absolutely is. And this is the tuning that I use. There's different tunings there's 5 different tunings. So this one is a heart tuning, and this is the one that I would use in a hospital. Just because it's so incredibly grounding and healing. It's the one that does the most healing work in the body. When I go in with a heart patient, usually I'm called in because they're panicking because they have a heart issue and maybe they're having surgery the next morning. In a case like that, the heart rate is very high, very erratic. And what they're not wanting to do is give the heart patient a lot of drugs the night before the surgery, because they'll be needing to introduce other drugs, for anesthesia in the morning. Anything natural is really welcomed. So this is the heart tuning, and this is the celestial. You'll hear the difference. So, and there are many different tunings, and they're used. Different tunings are good for different scenarios. There's one that's a minor chord called the earth tuning. That is wonderful for shadow workers. This one, it's very emotional, very deep, very stirring. It makes you feel a lot. That would not be the one I would take into the hospital. But that one's wonderful for working with some clients who might be really closed up, and a lot of some men who have a hard time finding their emotions. That one's really good. There's also an angelic tuning that is completely expansive, off the planet, straight out of our bodies we go. You can listen to all of those on my website at shellyreef.com. They're listed there, and you can listen to all the 5 different tunings and see which one. So when I go into a hospital to play in a very sensitive situation like that, I simply sit beside the person and play. It's enough. I feel like the vibration might be too strong in that circumstance. But I give them a guided meditation, and I know I can just feel that there's so many of you here that lead guided meditations. I give them a guided meditation that is simple enough that they can repeat it inside of themselves the following morning as they're going into surgery. And I've had successes the best success was the client got out of the hospital 3 days earlier. He got out the day after his heart surgery, which was 3 days
Wow,
earlier,
that's
and
amazing.
had a really remarkable recovery. We did one more session with him at home, and then everything was fine to integrate. I really believe in the power of sound. I've worked in hospice situations, and I'll lean into that just for a moment, if you don't mind. Um, I find that most people don't know. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about most people, the other 97% who haven't found Sheila. um, uh, they don't seem to understand the way to speak or the way to be with the dying. And one thing that's the most common misunderstanding is that after the person goes inward, they'll stop speaking. At a certain point, they'll close their eyes. But the hearing is the last sense to go. And so even after they seem to be very inward and they're not responding anymore, they're still listening. They're hearing everything that's going on in the room. And what happens at that point is that family, friends, people come in and they start talking about the person as if they're not there. Yeah, and even the nursing staff, I notice, will come in, and just because the person's inward, they'll talk about their hot date last night, or, whatever, gossip, things like this. Well, personally, being an empath, I can't it's hard for me to imagine being in the stage where all you want to really do is let go of this earth and connect, go back to the light. And all of this busyness, audible busyness, is keeping you grounded here. Very often there's also a breathing machine, which sounds like an aqua lung from a horror movie. It's like, what a thing, to keep you in a state of fear, right? So I just want to encourage anyone, if you have anyone who's in those final stages of life, and right now I'm working on a very affordable device that we will do everything we can to get it in the hands of every hospice worker and every hospital in America, maybe the world. It's a tiny little, very affordable device with beautiful, angelic, heavenly, simple sounds, or drones, heavenly, simple drones, that gives the person something to focus on, so that even if other people are, or machinery, or there's beeps in the hospital from all the machinery, they have something to connect to. I'm going to give you an example. So imagine that a sound healer comes in to a hospice situation and plays for an hour. And that person is starting to let go, starting to soften, starting to find their way. And then the sound healer says, "Thank you, my time's up, goodbye." Did you feel that? It was like, right, it's like an umbilical cord getting pulled out of the socket. So that ongoing 24/7 beautiful drone sound is the kindest gift you can give someone at that time of their life. Thank you for that tangent. What else, Sheila?
Wow, that's awesome. If there's anything else you'd like to share, I know you've got all these beautiful instruments, and I can't wait to experience it. But I want to honor any process that you have, anything else you'd like to share.
Thank you so much. Um, uh, Endless, first of all. There's two things. One thing is, please come on our retreat. It's March 20th to 24th. It's called Beyond the Matrix, Conscious Evolution Retreat, in which we're not talking about the changes of 5D. We're actually taking 5 days to live as if we are already there, to live in it, as it, and of it, and to really transform and actually transmute ourselves into that new state of being, so that we come out and start walking, talking, and being that state of transformation. And it's a slippery one, because that's not what's going on outside the windows. So that's on, I don't have the webpage up, that'll be next week. I just wanted to bring it up because if you go on my website, it's in the current events, and you can click a link just to be on the mailing list for it, and then I'll get you there. And the other thing I'd really like to share that's so important to me in this moment is that right now I'm sitting in the beautiful Sacred Sound of the Soul Crystal Alchemy Bowl, Crystal Tones Alchemy Bowl Gallery here in Encinitas. We have a sister store in Sedona. I don't own this gallery. I'm very, very blessed to get to do my sound healings here and to do my broadcasts and all of my trainings, to send everything out from here. As it goes in this very strange kind of push me, pull you energetic time on Earth, the owners of this is a beautiful little shady shopping mall in a very beautiful part of California, Encinitas. And they're bringing in new owners who are talking very seriously about turning this into a commercial dress shop. That hurts, right? I know. It really hurts. It hurts so much. There's been so much healing. This room is the most high vibration room I have ever worked in anywhere in my life because we just keep raising the frequency, and we're surrounded by hundreds of these crystal singing bowls where when I make any sound whatsoever, they all vibrate and they all sing. And so the alchemies of all of those bowls, everything from, ruby to diamond to shungite to, you name it, there's a bowl made out of it here. When I play, they vibrate, and the frequency, the wave of that is traveling out to all of you. Anything that's recorded or broadcast here. It's so wonderful. Well, we may be losing this space early next year. And so I am looking for a space to set up my instruments and my broadcasting equipment and get more out into the world as much as I can. Uh, I don't know that I could ever be a Sheila Seppi, but it's the dream.
Oh, I'm honored.
Don't you remember your Go Bigger speech in San
Yes,
Diego?
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, go bigger. Yeah. So, so if you know of anything in the San Diego area, please do let me know. It'd be wonderful. So, I think it's time to drop in. Let's see, I'm gonna check the time. Okay. So I find I don't have pro sound, but I have a pretty good microphone hooked up. And I find that wearing earbuds really accentuates the sound of these sound healings and the sound of the instruments and allows us to go deeper. So if you want to wear earbuds, you can stay seated, you can lay down, you can do, whatever makes you comfortable. Um, whatever makes you comfortable for this journey. So I'm just going to begin where I always begin. There's no script for these. Uh, as I said, I get the ball rolling and then I see what happens. So, all I know is that this is for you guys, and whatever comes through here uh, is channeled for you. So thank you for the beauty you're about to bring. All right. I'm just going to begin by clearing the space in this room. I ask that any and all energies or entities whatsoever that may be dwelling in the corners, the doorways, the windows, at this time be neutralized, or you may choose to leave the space to be neutralized by the sun back into benevolent love in the universe. I also ask that this floor, the ceiling, and the walls of this space, every instrument contained within every empty space, support us in our journey, be a neutral conduit of the most benevolent love possible at this time. Aho. Of the most benevolent. So as I play the Moldavite bowl representing cosmic awareness, in the note of C, the root, invite you to become rooted, grounded in your body. Allow those roots to grow deep down into the center of the earth, anchoring you here for this sacred journey in your blessed human form. So that we remain here and now in the physical, even as we will gently expand out into cosmic awareness. At any time, if you feel that you become too expansive or untethered, I invite you to just drop right back down into your root and into that root that we've grown into the core of the earth. Find your breath. Find that with each new breath, you soften the auric field, the energy field of any guarding, tensions of the day. Melting away. All that is not of and by your highest good. Continue to soften the physical body, soften the emotional body. As we become gentle in our mental body, allowing thought to rest, so that the energetic and spiritual bodies may rise closer to the surface of your being. Call in now the guides, the way showers, the healers of each and every individual here. And those guides that may be specific to this exact collective of people. call you forth now to be with each and every individual. Delivering protection and guiding light, so that only that which is of the highest good for each individual and the group may be entertained, experienced, known, or felt at this time. And with that, we say thank you. Nothing to do now but just be. Dropping inwards towards the center of the mind, to that temple, that sanctuary of you. Simply taking some time now to simply be. The simple, pure, true, authentic essence of you. Invite you to see in your mind's eye this sanctuary, this temple of you. Just allow it to be shown to you in whatever form it may appear. Most beautiful place that has ever existed on earth or beyond, surrounding you now. Yourself to see what is beneath your feet in this most beautiful place. And what is above you, this most beautiful temple of you. yourself to see what surrounds you on all sides. The most beautiful place to ever exist on Earth or beyond. Inside of this most beautiful place, there's a place for you to rest your body. It may be a throne, a bed, a lounge. It may be a cloud. And as you feel yourself, see yourself moving towards that place, you feel yourself more and more calm, present, clear. And as you come right up to that resting place, you feel yourself beginning to connect to your high self. And as you rest your body on this most beautiful resting place that was built just for you, exists only for you, you understand that you have entered the most gentle of portals to that divine information of high self. Simply allowing yourself to connect, to be your own high self, all-knowing, all-seeing. No right or wrong way to receive this. Perfectly safe, absolutely beautiful. ask the high self now to be our guide. To form any connections to benevolent, high frequency information that may be wanting to come through at this time. In this most beautiful, safe, protected environment. Nothing to do but be and allow. Observe where you are. Observe who is there. Observe if there are any connections happening that you may wish to maintain. There are connections happening that you wish to maintain. Take this moment to ask that be so, that you may return to this place again, return to this connection and this support and this love. We state again at this time that only that which is in alignment with the highest good for each and all is allowed in this sacred exchange. Maintained here just one more minute before making our journey back. If there are any questions that you would like to ask of your high self, or any benevolent interdimensionals that may have graced their presence, do so now. That any and all healing, benevolent downloads, or reconnection that was initiated during this brief time come to completion in its own time. Sleep cycles of tonight. We ask that only experiences of joy frequency and universal love time to begin a gentle return. If you'd like to take a moment in gratitude, your guides, your angels who have led the way and protected this journey, lit the path, gratitude for your own high self. who allowed this to occur. And gratitude for any benevolent beings of light who may have graced any of us or all of us with their presence today. Thank you. It's time now to just gently find your breath, even as you remain resting there in your sanctuary, on your throne, your sacred resting place that will be there for you from this moment forward for the rest of your life, where you can always return to center, to connection. Finding your physical breath in your physical body, expanding the space around your heart. As in your mind's eye, you now rise yourself up from that resting place. Just visualize that you rise yourself onto your feet and stand with that resting place at your back. And as you do, you feel as you stand with this resting place at your back. You feel the power, the strength, the light, the access to universal love and high self. Behind you, like wings. A light that shines from behind, falling over your shoulder, lighting the path forward. And as you begin to move away from it, moving back towards that space through the third eye, moving towards the space at the center of the forehead, between the eyes, the front of the third eye, the frontal lobe. Maybe you can begin to feel the light of the room as it shines on the lids. Feel the temperature of the room as it falls on your skin. Feel the breath in the body as it moves the space around your heart. You're ready. Ever so slowly, allow the eyes to open, but just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Enough to begin to bring back in this time, this place, the room that you're in, the concept of time and space, 3D reality, the breath, always the breath. As you let in just enough of this reality around you, and the details of life and the day start to pour back in, I'm going to invite you to keep the eyes open and simultaneously travel right back to that sanctuary within. travel right back to that most beautiful place that has ever existed in the heart of you. And in this moment, be both. Be here now in the physical and be one with the high self in that sanctuary of you, having access to the divine love of the universe. Divine information. A little deeper breath. Let that life force find its way to your fingertips. A little movement, a little stretch, a little breath, a little yawn. Let that life force find your toes. Hello, toes. Welcome back. And opening the eyes all the way. Movement, good. And once again, we simply ask that any and all work that was begun during this journey here today that is wishing to come to completion, do so naturally over time. And a final blessing. May this light of your high self and divine intelligence light your path brightly, so that every step, breath, word, and gesture be an expression of your high self, your divine self, universal love, joy frequency. That you be an expression of this light in the world, and that it be a reflection back upon you from each and every one that you meet. As above, so below. At this time, we draw that root that we grew deep into the earth right back up into our root. We become whole and complete in our physical bodies here, now, in our center, present. Everyone, take a little laugh, a little giggle, make a little sound. Say your own name. Say your own name. There we are. And we are back. And with that, I say thank you. Aho. Namaste.
I was on mute, but I was trying to tell you that was absolutely amazing. Had such a sacred feel to it. I can't wait to go back and listen to this. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, I had, during the call, I'd gotten to text my daughter's little dog. They confirmed that it was picked up by a white vehicle. So now there's a search party out for the vehicle, and I was like, oh no. And I was feeling so bad for her. And that music just lulled me right back. And I was able to drop into such a deep space. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my joy to deliver these. I never know quite what's going to happen, but that was kind of the deepest, the deepest type of journey. That it felt very safe in this environment to open those doors. There was a lot of protection, a lot of light. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I do want to say, though, if anyone's out there and you're listening right now, if you feel that you haven't landed back in your body, You might just drop that into the chat. And if you're out there and you watch this later and you feel like you don't come home or anything happened that you're not in favor of, then you can message me on my website and let me know. Because we take responsibility, but we haven't lost one yet.
Beautiful. And can you please share once more your web address along with the courses and workshops that are the most immediately coming up?
Certainly. So you can find me at shellyreef.com. And on that site, you will find links to all of my upcoming events, including some live events here in Encinitas. If you're in the San Diego area, on the 30th, we're doing a live event that will be very perfectly mic'd, and we'll be using the big super grade giant bowls for that. And it would be a similar journey as this one. So that's coming up. The Therapy Harp certification course is coming up October 7th. We have, I think, 6 harps left for it. So if you have the inclination, reach out soon so we can make sure that you get the harp that you want. And we love helping people get aligned with that. And then most immediately next March is the Beyond the Matrix Conscious Evolution Retreat in Lucerne Valley, California. We have this beautiful retreat center. If you're familiar with Michael Beckwith, that's where he does most of his retreats. Lots of big names from California use this retreat center. It has a capacity of 120 people, and we're planning to have around 30 so that everyone has lots of space to be on your own. Over the course of 5 days, we intend to go very deep and hold that space for those days, and also to have a lot of fun and a lot of really great food.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'd like to take this opportunity if anyone would like to share, or if you have a question for Shelly, now would be the time to raise your hand. And Bridget, do we have anything from Clubhouse?
I had to get back to my mic. Shelly, I just want to say, wow. That was so, well, the word I like to use is delicious. It was coming in from all the different angles. There was so much beauty happening in that. And I'm feeling our Awaken Ascending family vibing with it as well. So thank you so, so much. We don't have any questions, but I can feel everybody loving it and vibing with it. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of interdimensional and others in that experience as well. And I'm super excited to listen back again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Susie.
Yeah, I got knocked off the internet just now, but and I'm very rarely speechless. But Shelly, wow, I want to say 2 things. Um, uh, I, I've been dead twice, and when I was dead the first time, the second time, I heard this sound that I've been trying to duplicate for 30 years or so, and you did it. The sound I heard I when I was I heard this sound that um I'm crying. I'm so touched. Um my sound that I heard, I didn't know whether it was angels or dead guys or what, but it was as far as you could see. And they were light beings or something. And they had this harmony that was just so magical. And I'm crying. Um, I heard that tonight again. I'm just so touched. And when uh, when I've I'm not musically trained, but I play the piano and guitar, whatever I can. I don't have it much tonight. I've got YouTube to back me if I sing tonight, but I've played for people. I've gone to hospitals, mostly assisted living and hospice, and there's something about people that are getting ready to die. They when you play music for them, it's it's just so magical. It's just so because and uh, I'm just so deeply touched. And when my mama was dying, uh, there was I was playing, singing all of her favorite songs, and then there was this time that I was guided to just you know that it would be more of a distraction to her, and it was kind of like I let her into the angels and the music that I had heard, and you duplicated that. I mean, I am so blinking touched. Thank you from the bottom of my being. I mean, wowie. I heard that sound again, and I heard something a little bit on YouTube, and I'm trying to find it, and you did it tonight. So thank you. Thank you so much. And one more thing, all I had was a guitar, piano. I played the accordion for a while, but that's for flat-chested women. Because you go like this and it hurts. But what I want some of your toys because this is just so magical. I mean, my God, so beautiful. Uh, I'm so sorry I lost my internet right when but wowie, thank you. I mean, serious business. Thank you.
Is it Susie?
Yeah, it's
Susie.
Susie. I
Susie,
don't.
I have something to share with you,
Yeah,
and that is that at a certain point, I was only playing two instruments very softly, but this bowl started making sounds that it's never made before. It was making, the instruments were making overtones that were beyond what I could possibly do with them. It happens sometimes, but it's very rare. And when that happens, I know that that spirit is coming through, for lack of a better way to say it. And there's a
yeah,
conversation happening with someone. It wasn't for me. I knew that it was for someone out there. And so
yeah,
I'm really believing now that that
yeah.
was for you. That was a
Yeah, I've
love.
been like crying. I've been doing deep shadow work this week, and I've been crying for like 6 days, and I needed this so deeply. I mean, this just so touched my being. I don't know where my face is and all this. My computer's going crazy, but my God, thank you so much. This was, I mean, and maybe I'll come to a workshop so I can learn how to do your toys because this is just so beautiful.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Susie.
Oh, Susie, we have a free info session on the 26th. It's on my website. You can drop in and ask any questions and learn all about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I put my picture up because I can't see me, but thank you so much. I mean, this was just, and maybe a little question. When you're playing for people that are dying, is there a time when you like, I don't know, I could feel my mom transitioning, but there was a time when I was guided not to play. I would hum a little bit, but I knew she was leaving, and it was like, it was like I knew I was putting the music in the hands of the sound that I had heard when I was dead, and have you found that?
Yes, there is a specific moment when anything melodic doesn't becomes not appropriate because melody has an emotional effect in it. You know, like we all have different reactions to the same to different songs.
Yeah.
And so if you play a known melody, it could have a heavenly reaction for one person or a broken heart reaction to another person. So there's a
Yeah.
point where only a drone. It's just a drone. It's as
Yeah.
simple as this is one note. All
Yeah.
these strings, all these strings just for D. It's
Yeah. Wowie, wowie.
yeah.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
that's where the
Thanks so
drone.
much.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
magnificent.
Thank you for sharing that. That you touched my
Yeah.
so deeply. Thank
Ditto.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Jim, you have a question.
I have a very brief comment and then a question about one of her instruments. The very brief comment is I had a man come to my house for an insurance adjustment. He confided in me when he was 16, he was training to be a hitman for the mob. He ended up going through the windshield of his car with a head injury. And fast forward, he played in a band for the next 40 years, changed his life. So as he's sitting on my couch, I have a lot of instruments like you have in the room with you, Shelly. And I work heavily on intuition, and I saw a particular singing bowl, but mine are bell metal bronze. And I handed him the singing bowl, and I said, "Hold it up to your forehead, please." And I gave it a bit of a gong, and you could sort of see it working on him. So fast forward 30 more days, he calls me back, and he said, "My entire life has changed because of that bowl." I gave him the bowl. Everything changed, and he said he doesn't know how it happened, but he was very grateful. So yes, these things do work, and they work really well. Now, I think it's important for the audience. I snuck little peeks, and believe me, I really dropped in with your wonderful performance. Your monochord, if you could talk to people about that, because you really don't see a lot of them. And I really enjoyed sneaking peeks at the way you played it, because you sort of gave me some wonderful ideas how to fold it into the way I use it. And so if you could do that, I'd love to listen to your answer.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Uh, so uh, this is it's a feel tone monochord, of which I just last week became an official distributor of these instruments. They'll be available on my website in the next week or two. So they're 38 string instruments, but the majority of the strings are only one note. There's all of these strings are D, and then it's an octave of D. That means here, I'll let you hear, all D, and then an octave of D, and then an A. And it's amazing, it's a drone. This creates a drone. Now, the way that you play a monochord is with both hands, like this. This is the traditional way to play it. But in working with the therapy harps, what I found is that I needed to be able to play the harp and the bowls at the same time. And so that's where I became ambidextrous, and I developed the technique for playing a harp one-handed, and so that I can play the crystal bowls at the same time. And then I discovered that I can do the same. And I teach this in my advanced course. I have a Therapy Harp advanced training in which I also train the monochords, because I find there are people who want to be able to play them with one hand. So that they can play other instruments at the same time. And the interesting thing about the monochord is that it creates an overtone. So even though this is all just a D, there are times when other notes come into it. It creates it creates harmony within itself, even though I'm only playing D. It's very magical. It freaks sound engineers out, which is so much fun. They run around like there's feedback. There's some strange sound, and I'm like, no, it's half an hour later, they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, magic. I don't know. I don't know. It just happens. But that amazing sound that was coming through tonight was an overtone in the monochord and also the D bowl. It was all D, which is second chakra. So that was a very interesting moment. It looks like this. It's standing. It's on a little stand. Um, and yeah, I don't feel complete without it these days. Did that answer your question? Thank you.
Yes, I'm very grateful. I put in the chat how watching you do two hands, I kind of went, I'll have to try that. I'll see what happens. I'll have to ask for a little help from them.
That's the only way it really happens. Yeah. And that's how I train in my trainings. It's like, I'm going to teach you these moves, and now you're going to forget the moves and listen to spirit and be guided, because that's the only way it really happens. That's the
And
requirement to be a sound healer, isn't it?
and I'll just give the room and also you perhaps a tip. I just put in the chat. There's an instrument by a British man called a sounding bowl, not a singing bowl, sounding bowl. Just go Google that. I have one. My daughter was in a very bad place and I handed her this sounding bowl. Think of a big turn bowl, and it's sort of like a circular harp. And I just let her pluck it for 35 minutes and she came back to a very, very good place. But it's a very unique instrument. I would say it sounds sort of like a British tuned lyre, but it's very interesting to look at. The sad part is they're very expensive, but they're very interesting.
Yeah, I understand. All of these are quite expensive too, which is ironic because I am most definitely not rich. I was just telling Sheila today, it would be really nice. I'm led to do this, but it would be really nice if I could live like a normal adult too at the same time and have some stability. That would be amazing. But it's coming, I'm quite certain. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will definitely look up that bowl.
Thank you so much. I think that tonight has really demonstrated the importance of music in all facets of our life and how we can drop into that and allow it to heal, to nurture, and to lead us over to the other side. So thank you so much for that. And again, I want people to visit your site, shellyreef.com, sign up for her workshops. If you're led to purchase these magnificent, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bowls and tuned devices, I'm sure if you reach out, she'll be able to help you take care of that as well. So Shelly, it's been an honor to have you here tonight. And I was wondering, are there any final words that you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yes. We took a deep sound journey tonight, so please drink a lot of water. Know that, we really do process a lot during these, and drink a lot of water. If you have highs and lows in your energy, that can be expected. Sleep deeply. Tonight, when you go to sleep, have a moment of intention that this work be completed and always only ever aligned with your highest good and the highest good of all. And yeah, please reach out. I love to serve. I live to serve. And Sheila, I think I feel like I'm going to be more prevalent on your site as well. So thank you. I'm really excited for everything that's coming in the pipeline this year. Oh,
Thank you.
also, if anyone's at the Conscious Life Expo in LA this February, it is, look me up. I'll have a table and I'm also doing a live presentation there.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Wonderful. Okay, guys, you heard that. So if you're going to Conscious Life Expo, swing by, connect, get to listen to some beautiful music. That'll be awesome. Again, Shelly, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I want to thank everyone that's out there. You can catch this replay on YouTube, on the Conscious Awakening Network. You can visit us. It will be up probably within the next couple of days on the Galactic Alliance site. And just, you'll be able to eventually hear it once we're able to get the audio over. It'll be on podcasting as well as like with Spotify and Google, all of the major podcasting sites, as well as played on our CAN Radio. So check us out at the Conscious Awakening Network. Check Shelly's workout. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you again, Shelly. Thank you wherever you're watching us. And until we're back together again, much love to everyone and namaste. Have a blessed night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Love, love, love.